So, good evening, everyone. I see a lot of new faces. Firstly, welcome to the fourth edition of the Future. Where is it? The BW People Nurturing Talent for Future Conclave, firstly. So, I think I have a very interesting panel, one of the most enthusiastic panelists that I am witnessing from the time I've met them. So, firstly, can you all give a warm welcome to the panelists, please? So, okay, so starting with my questions. So let me start with bombarding with you with the questions and the discussion. Firstly, I would like to know, like, HR is something that is, every organization has it. Everyone is very enthusiastic about knowing what our HR is doing. And now, since the topic is, it's about leadership development in according to HR perspective. And we are talking about inspiring the next generation leaders. So what, according to you, is that one leadership quality that is very crucial in inspiring and empowering employees to reach their full potential? Sandeep, if I start with you.
Good evening, all. Thank you so much for having us here. A very important question. One quality, it will be authenticity. I think an authentic leader can only inspire not only his team, his or her team, but the entire generation. People can see through leaders, people can see through each other. If the alignment of one's self, reflection of what a leader is supposed to do and what the person is actually doing, if that alignment is missing, there is a problem.
Santwana?
So, to my mind, I think if I had to talk about one quality, it would be mental agility. I think the environment is such that both the internal and external ecosystem continue to be very, very dynamic. And what we need today are leaders who can, seamlessly move through these situations and navigate these situations in a way that they can inspire the teams. If they're not able to do that, that's where the growth and the momentum of the organization would stop. Because I think if there's resistance to change, this inability to zoom in and zoom out, that is going to be a severe hindrance to any team as they move forward.
Priyanka, what, according to you, is that one leadership quality?
Yeah, I know you stressed on the one, and I'll stick to one. Thank you so much. Thank you for having us here. I'll go back to movies because some of the very good examples come from simple things, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen Spider-Man. So if you see the evolution of Spider-Man as a movie, earlier they used to show this powerful, Avengers and Spider-Man who had a lot of superpowers, and therefore they would be able to conquer the world. Over the last few years, that's changing, just in the movies itself. There's collaboration. So you see Iron Man collaborating with Spider-Man. And therefore, I think that's happening in the leadership as well. Despite the tech, the entire suit that Spider-Man gets, there is technology, there is change, yet there is collaboration. And he sees Iron Man as the mentor. I think that's going to happen in a lot of organizations where it's going to be about collaboration. And I think that's the theme I'm going to go with. Thank you.
Collaboration, according to you?
Yes, absolutely.
We'll come to that. Gaurav, according to you, what are your thoughts?
So is there some training organization here? You are just listing all the competencies they can work on in the future. One important thing which I feel is can be learned, but this cannot be learned, is being empathetic towards someone. And since we're talking about movies, so there was a movie named as Toilet, उसमें एक dialogue था कि जब तक problem तुम्हारी अपनी नहीं है, you will not understand this. So we can be empathetic, we can talk about it, that I care for the people, I feel for you, all that stuff. But unless and until if you're talking about work-life balance, hybrid, performance management, anything, if you don't feel that yourself, और तुम्हारी problem नहीं बनेगी वो, तब तक आप समझोगे ही नहीं कि आपके लोगों को क्या चाहिए. That is a very important thing which I see today's leaders, they talk, but they don't feel. There's a big difference between talking and feeling. So I just connected with a young lady here. May she not like it, but Ramya is here. Can you raise your hand, Ramya? Yes, stand up. She's one of the youngest participant here. Very impressed with her patience levels. She has been listening to all of us. And she studies in class 12, sorry, class 2 and Shriram school, right? I asked her that, how is this event? You know what she said? Boring. Obviously, the audience is not relevant, but the thing is, we have to make interesting and feel empathetic and connect with people. Try and connect. So I tried my best to connect with her, but another thing which is there, and I can add one more value or maybe a kind of a competence to, is that, and me and Priyanka was talking about it, that you can be all empathetic or all eager to connect with people, but people should also be able to connect with you in turn. So you should feel that. So team management, which is there, and connecting with your team is also one of the skills which a leader require, and that comes with the empathy, obviously, and some kind of connect which you can build up. I don't know how. It's up to the person to decide on this. Okay. So I tried to connect with her little bit, but she was quite close, but she was quite responsive. But thank you, Ramya. Can we give a big hand for the young lady who has been quite patient?
So I think in a couple of years, Ramya, we'll come to you with the next inspiring next generation of leaders. You'll be one of them. So, okay, since we're talking about the next generation, so there's Narayan Murthy's statement, which has created a good ruckus in the market. And since we're talking about the next generation, that 70-hour long working week, a lot of Gen Z or the next generation have come up with a lot, they're advocating very strongly that we want flexibility when it comes to working. We do not want to work 70 hours. We want to have, quality over quantity. So what do you think? How do you perceive it? Because of course there are different generations that have been boomers, millennials, Gen Z now, and from 19-year-olds are working in today's date. How do you see that parallel? What is your take on this? Gaurav, if we start with you itself on this.
I'm quite disruptive in my ideas. Please don't start with me. But yes, it is Mr. Narayana Murthy. So obviously anything he says will become a news, Respect him a lot. But if you want to become Narayana Murthy, definitely you can work 70 hours to 150 hours. Nobody is stopping you. But there is a thin demarcation where you feel exhausted between your balance to your motivation. So when there is a choice which comes between motivation and discipline, I always choose discipline. So motivation is like this, that I want to lose weight. One day I will not eat anything, or I do maybe a fasting or something like that, you guys say that. Or maybe in a week, 10 hours I exercise. Do you lose weight? No. But you have to lose weight consistently and do a disciplined approach, So this thing also works, that whatever you do, work 70 hours. So one week you work 70 hours, other week you get 10 hours. That's not going to make a big difference. I think the consistency plays a kind of a vital role in this, that are you consistent in your performance? Are you consistent in your KPIs, delivering what you are kind of being supposed to deliver? That matters a lot, rather than maybe defining a number of hours. I'm ready to work if somebody like Mr. Narayan Murthy can allocate a 1% share. I will work for maybe more than 70 hours to 90 hours or 120 hours, depends. So if you are talking to a salaried people, I think his statement has been misunderstood as well. In a way, what he's saying is that today's India, as
Bharat, we should say.
Yeah. So Bharat. So today's Bharat, I know the BJP office is nearby. So today's Bharat requires a lot of work to be done. So everybody looking at the gap in the skills. We have the gap in the demand for the skills we require to grow to the next level, as we were talking about GDP, another thing. is too wide to cover up that. If you want to be in that league, we need to work hard. We need to work more. Okay? So that's why he was mentioning that, yes, 70 hours we need to work and all that stuff to cover up that gap. But yes, I'll be very happy if someone allocates me good amount of shares, ESOPs or something like that, and I have a profit sharing concept in that organization. Why 70 hours? I'll work 150 hours. I will not sleep also.
So I don't think so Narayan Murthy himself works. So Priyanka, on this note only, when a lot of contradictions came very strongly from Gen Z, Narayan Murthy made another statement that he worked. His wife, sorry, made another statement that he worked for 90 hours. So because Gen Z has this balance, they prefer a work-life balance. They want that, okay, my personal life should be personal and my professional life should be professional. How do you see on this statement? Because there's a burnout, of course, when you're working continuously, you need some time off. And after a point of time when you enter the professional life, you actually like time by yourself. If no one else, you like time by yourself. How do you take on this?
Sure. So let me first just go back to what he said in terms of the background. I think his number, that metric that he gave, 70 hours, was just taken as a disproportionate number and just misquoted. I think because it's also the intent of the person that you need to kind of look at. Look at some of the statistics and numbers. Sorry, I keep going back to numbers because that's very important from a background perspective. Our productivity, if compared to countries like China, etc., lower by 35-40%. So even if you're working 8 hours, you're not as productive as some of the other countries are. Our innovation index is at 45. Countries like Switzerland, etc., are number 1. So those are the metrics that we need to work on, right? It's not about just the number of hours. It's about the objective that you want to achieve. It's about the goals and how they kind of align to the organization, whether it's an entrepreneur or a manager or somebody at whatever hierarchy, that doesn't matter. It is about the goal and the objective. Has that been set and how are you achieving it? It's not the hours. So that's point 1. And I think he was coming more from a productivity perspective. If you want to kind of become a 25 trillion economy, you need to improve your productivity and therefore more work needs to get in. Now that work can also be without distractions, right? All of us are guilty, including me, about this, the mobile phone, doing various things at the same time. So that's point number 1. The point 2 that you made about Gen Z being burnout and they want to kind of balance work and life, we all do. It's not a generational thing. And I think it's more to do with Gen Z also wanting to work with a purpose. So suddenly, a lot of generations, Gaurav, you will kind of agree with it, the younger generation wants to have an impact on anything that they're doing, right? They're not, you just tell them what to do and don't show them that big picture and how that little puzzle that they're trying to solve will solve that entire big picture. If you're not showing that impact to them, they're not very happy with the work. So suddenly from profits, it's moved to purpose. And hence, if you're not showing that impact and purpose to them, forget 70 hours, you won't even get those 2 hours. So that's point number 1. They're ready to work very hard as long as that purpose is shown. And that's extremely important to do. Second thing is giving, not, like micromanaging, not making, going and ticking everything, but ensuring that there is collaboration. That was the point that I made in the first one as well. And ensuring that they are actually leaders on that piece that they're working on, right? So giving them that freedom, ensuring that, you're not micromanaging, yet at the same time, you're enabling them to achieve those goals. So those are the 2 things that I think you need to kind of do, which is move from profit to purpose, ensure there's no micromanagement and more of collaboration, and making them feel like the king or the queen of that piece.
Truly said, rightly said. Miss Periwal, I would actually now start referring to you like that because I'm mispronouncing your name a lot. So, according to you, because as Priyanka also mentioned that there's a collaboration that is required. They are also looking for quality. They are just make them the king and the queen. They're hardworking. They probably can't vision what is there. So you have to, come up with it. So again, I'll come back to my original question, that's 70-hour long, because burnout, as Priyanka mentioned that about burnout, every generation goes through it. But with the new Gen Z lingo that has come up, a lot of Gen Z have started saying things. Boomers did not used to say. Millennials tried, but did not work very much. Gen Z, as a force altogether, they have come on together. So, what is your point of view when you come? That are they willing? Should they just refrain back, and go for 70-hour working weeks, or what is your idea on this?
So while I think that the topic has been debated quite a bit already, in my view, I don't think it was a mandate that was put out for us to say whether we accept it or we don't accept it. It was a point of view, and I think as we continue to keep talking about diversity and inclusivity, to me, this is just an exercise in how much do we accept diversity, and how do we react to it. Everybody is bound to have their own points of view, and I don't think it's I think to think that an entire generation of people have the same motivation, the same desire, and the same needs is also oversimplifying it. So I don't think it is so much about what Narayan Murthy said versus a particular generation. It is his perspective, and there is his thought and his experiences that is backing it, which I'm sure all of us in the room respect. Having said that, I think the idea is always to say that, what is the outcome that we want to achieve? And if we are all truly tied into the outcome that we want to achieve, then maybe hours of work is one way of getting there. But there are multiple other ways, and I think eventually we need to, and I think that's what organizations have started doing, to move from inputs to outcomes. And if we all just focus that this is the outcome we want to achieve, I'm sure there are multiple things that we can look at doing, whether it is innovation, whether it is how do we leverage technology, what else do we do? How do we skill ourselves much better? What is it that we do to achieve the outcomes? The outcomes, yes, are necessary because that's what's going to get us to move forward as a country. And that is something that we should all be, contributing towards.
Understood. So, Sandeep, on to you for this. That, recently I was, I think, maybe 15 days ago, I was having a conversation with a founder regarding, how do they take employees, how do they hire, how do they fire? So as Ms. Periwal said that, it comes with that hard work if they are working on it, is if there's quality. Similarly, Gen Z, again, they don't have a route. They have to be taught. And a lot of what I've heard from my personal experience, that they are actually not taught the right way. They're not shown the right way. How do you inculcate those values in them and not work for 70 hours, of course? And of course, to everyone here, I'm a huge fan of Narayan Murthy. It's just a statement. So I work as well. So on those grounds, how do you inspire these Gen Z, or what is your take on this?
So first of all, when we talk about inclusion, I think this generational inclusion is a very important thing now. I think it's been beaten a lot, hammered a lot. Millennials, it was, a thing. Then Gen Z became a thing, baby boomer. If you look at our families, how are we different? We have our grandparents, we have our parents. There's one generation here, and we may have our kids. How is it different? We all know, right? As a child grows, the style of parenting changes. You start from first maybe telling, you tell, don't touch the fire, it's hot, the kid will not listen, try to touch, get burned, then you say, I bola tha na. So, and slowly then you come up with advising, and then at a certain age, you start becoming friends. किसने ये नहीं सुना है? सबने सुना है. तो जो हम लोग freshers hire कर रहे हैं, the people we are hiring, we call Gen Z, are they not that age कि उनके parents उनको दोस्त की तरह treat करें? तो हमें भी उनको दोस्त की तरह treat करना है. When we talk about 70 hours, one very important thing is, it does not reflect care in an organization. Why? We may have extremely motivated people ready to put in 90 hours, 100 hours, if they really find the kick out of it. We talk about purpose. If they find the purpose alignment, they will work. We all have worked. I don't know if anyone is here who has not passionately put in those hours. But imagine ailing parents, a spouse having health issue, a child needing sudden attention for a year, for 2 years, because of some reason, maybe education. What do we do? At that point of time, if a very talented, hypo, all those things we discussed, is unable to put that 70 hours and is putting 48 hours, what will the organization do with that talent? Deboard? ये plane से निकल जाओ, इस plane के तुम लायक नहीं हो? Or the organization decides that we are a high growth company, we need work. These are certain roles, these are certain departments where this kind of acceleration is required. It demands 70 hours. Let those people who are aligned with the purpose join the bus. Let them get boarded. As they face real life challenges and they're unable to put, as a caring organization, the organization can say, okay, you are unable to put 70 hours, but you have proven your worth. You are one of us. Today you are having a bad time. You can work 48 hours. These are the 4 opportunities which will allow you to address your priorities at home. Go for those roles for 2 years. When you are ready, again board the plane. We are with you. If that kind of message can be given to talent with that care, I don't think this 70 hour, 90 hour, we don't have to debate. The organization that requires the total number of work to get a productivity delivered will automatically get delivered, and a talent will not feel insecure. ये जो बोलते हैं ना कि क्योंकि दूसरा आदमी 8 बजे तक बैठा है, मैं 8 बजे तक बैठा हूं, it is insecurity. If he is self-assured, he will say, today my family wants me at 6 p.m. I go at 6 p.m. Nothing will happen in office. They will understand. If we can, do that cultural shift, I think a lot of these issues will get addressed.
I think, Reema, just maybe one thing I want to add. I think, first of all, really agree with I think it's each to their own would be a good way to approach it. But to what you were also wanting to know, that how is it that you would motivate the new generation? At Clix, we have a program which we call the Mavericks program, wherein we hire graduates, graduates and postgraduates from Ashoka. And we've done 3 successful batches. And again, very, very interesting backgrounds that they come from. They're not management graduates. So a lot of our time is actually spent in terms of helping them navigate through the corporate world. But the one thing that we found in them is that, and by nature, of course, by through the program, we actually expose them to different functions and we give them some very, very key projects. And what we realize is that as long as you give them a meaningful project, right, and you give them enough guidance, they have absolutely floored us with the kind of deliverables that they have given to the organization in a very, very short span of time. So I don't think this thing about, the Gen Z only wants to work these many hours, etc., would hold good. I think these people would, and I do believe that with the investment that we're making in them, they will take on critical roles and critical levels sooner than, most of their counterparts. So I think, and we've seen them working hard, as much as is required to get the work done.
So I'm basically want to add this because I'm itching to add that thing. First of all, Gen Z or Zen, I don't know why I started with XYZ, why not ABC or something. Z+1 will come or Z+10 will come. Alpha, beta, gamma will come. So the thing is, first of all, it is all been created by, one is our fraternity, HR, because we are famous for this to create our problems and solve it. So first was Gen Z, then Y is alpha, beta, gamma, then we had COVID, then we had offline, off-sites, and then hybrid say, how do we bring the people back? How do you develop leadership? So it's all there. Gen Z's never said that we don't want to work or this thing. It's an evolution of society. You look at our parents, they used to work for certain needs. So let's go back to the Maslow need hierarchy and all. There were 3 layers they used to work for. Basic needs, which is psychological needs. Second is affiliation, creating family, friends, meeting there. And some part of esteem. right? The fourth and fifth was never there. Then the society got evolution. We started moving from basic needs to experiential things. When to go for holidays. पहले holidays पे कहाँ जाते थे सब लोग? नाना नानी के घर, दादा दादी के घर and all that stuff. Our parents used to do that. You remember those days, right?
I also used to do that.
Exactly. But now do you go? That is not possible because the society is moving from this basic need to experiential need. Why? Two reasons. One is evolution. Second is the money you get in hand. What do you do with that? Earlier the money was limited, given to you, which was only for 3 layers. After that, ya to we will save the money or do the things for maybe education and marriage and all. I worked with and sold the life insurance policies for the 3 purposes in my career. बेटे की शादी के लिए, बेटी की शादी के लिए या फिर education के लिए, like that stuff. So abhi that has come and the exposure has increased. So we are blaming Gen Zs and Y plus 1 alpha beta gamma. That maybe you don't know what will come next because the evolution is becoming very fast now. The cash in hand is increased now. We have lots of money. We want to do something कुछ करना है यार. मतलब अगर कोई 21 तारीख को 21 दिसंबर को कोई फैमिली बाहर नहीं जाता है तो they say कि you live in different world now. अच्छा हॉलिडे पे नहीं जा रहे हो? Like that stuff. So when you used to ask each and everybody maybe 30 years back कि 21st को या 25th को हॉलिडे पे जाना. It's all evolution basically. And you ask these kids also now, CBSE has changed, UP board has changed. You see the courses how they are changing because we are talking about the learning and development. It is changing because that experience is changing. So वहाँ से अगर start हो रहा है, the root level it is changing. Obviously the product which you are getting after graduation and post graduation, the expectation will mismatch. So that's how it is.
Very beautifully explained, actually. Very nicely. You have anything to add, Sandeep?
See, Gen Z is coming motivated. We have to ensure they don't get demotivated. So whenever I meet them on the day one, they are all charged up. They want to do good work. And they really want to experience the organization. And they have the expectation from their line managers, from their peers. ये लोग मेरे दोस्त हैं. कोई डर के नहीं आता. वो जो 2 बार उसको कोई गुस्सा कर देगा या कुछ उसके एक्सपेक्टेशन को मीट नहीं करेगा, then that feeling of disappointment comes and वो disappointment फिर वापस engagement में convert करना थोड़ा difficult है.
I think it was a very interesting question. I got my very interesting insights from that. So, okay, since we are talking about the next generation, also how, according to you, how can HR professionals basically, contribute in, creating an environment of innovation and a culture of innovation in the organization, that is in regard to both the current leaders as well as the next generation leaders? What strategies can an HR professional apply in being aligned and with a continuous innovation inculcated in the workplace? So, Ms. Periwal, I would like to start with you on this.
Sure, thank you. So I think one of the ways in which you can encourage innovation is to have a culture of continued learning. Because only when we continue to learn from the environment, from people around us, is when we will continue to find ways to innovate. But then there are a bunch of other things that will play in to make sure that that learning is translating into innovation. One is, like we said, get fresh people to come into the system. When fresh people come in, they come in and challenge the status quo. They ask all the questions which have not been asked. So this bunch of people that we have, 10 very, very bright people, and we put one in every business and function. They have gone and questioned every single process and every single protocol that we have. And it's been amazing. So I think that's one of the ways to challenge. The other is, as part of our talent strategy, we continue to hire people who are not from the sector. Because when you hire people who've been in the same sector, you've moved around different organizations, one of the standard answers you get is, ये ऐसे ही होता है. This is the way it is. ये इस sector का problem है. You cannot solve for it. So I think when you try getting people from different sectors, there is definitely a disruption in the thinking, and that absolutely helps and plays a role in, pushing for innovation. One of the things that we also do as an organization, and I think it works beautifully, is rather than looking at career paths to be very vertical and very ladder based, is to see how is it that we encourage people to take on completely diverse roles so that they grow very holistically because of the varied experiences. And what happens then is that their ability to think differently, plays into the new roles that they take on. So those are maybe just some of the ways that you can encourage innovation. But I think the overarching feature across everything that you do is, what is the culture of the organization? Do you have a culture that encourages open conversations, where people are accessible, where your leaders are accessible, where you want to experiment and explore, where there is no fear of failure? When you have a solid and a robust culture like that, then people will always try to do new things and do things differently.
And so I think previously also you were giving a example of how your company does a additional workshop on this. So I think these are all new innovations that you have to come up with to inspire the next generation.
Yes, absolutely. I think there are a lot of focused initiatives, both in terms of continuously building this culture as we build the organization, and then specifically there are people who are given very, very unique cross-functional projects which help them become more innovative and add to the organization.
Understood. Gaurav, your take on this, how do you create that culture?
One word on this: the innovation cannot happen under the structured environment. That's very clear. If I ask someone also innovate, he cannot or she cannot. That's one part. So innovation requires freedom. Learning makes you only graduate. So graduate to a level of a manager, graduate to a level of leader, graduate to a level of maybe a different role. Learning will never make you innovative. Innovation will come only with the freedom. When my mind is free, I can think on anything which I want to. And I agree with Santwana.
I'm trying to remember.
So, that one part is very important, which is the culture. And I call it as psychological safety. And she was trying to talk like, okay, so if there is a psychological safe environment, and why do you think that the new people, they bring in the new thoughts? Because they are not well versed with the implications there in the organization till that time. हम बोलते हैं ना, अभी तुम्हें पता नहीं है, बच्चे नए हो, तुम पता नहीं है यहाँ पे क्या होता है. Normally that comes very, very promptly in any organization. बोल लो अभी 3 महीने, because that's the kind of conversations are there, and very practical things are there. I always talk practical things. This is not like I'm talking about something. So freedom is the only means to get innovation in the organization. So you get creativity and innovation together not without the freedom. You have to give the freedom. You have to give the time. Then 70 hours theory doesn't work. Because you are working on a shop floor, everybody is monitoring you. You cannot innovate. Innovation requires freedom. Give your freedom, give what they want to do. Even in learning also, if you're giving them the path, they're graduating. They cannot innovate in that. So if I want to learn something on my own, today like in HR, I want to learn something about finance, I should have the freedom to learn, and then only I can think of something innovative ways to improvise on this. That's about it.
Great.
Sorry, I had a little contrary view to you, which is always good, I think. Let's fight. It's about innovation can happen in a structured way as well, though I agree with you that there should be freedom and psychological safety. Number one is data and metrics. I still go back to strategy and data and metrics. Reason being that depends on what you're measuring. Because if you are in a structured way measuring innovation and what your definition of innovation is, and rewarding and giving recognition, giving that time and freedom for sure, it can happen in a very structured way. I mean, as I was talking about earlier as well, look at Switzerland as a country. Why is it called the number one country which comes with the number one innovations, though the number of companies in Switzerland are not at number one. And that is because of the structured thinking that is there in the
You're talking about Sweden, right? Sweden is basically, look at their education system.
Let me just finish my point, Gaurav. Let me just finish my point. Data, metrics, rewards, recognition, training, and as you rightly said, psychological safety And with all that, you need one thing, which is called one thing, that asks the person to innovate or the teams to innovate only on one thing. A lot of times, teams are working on a lot of initiatives, from digital to technology to innovating at the shop floor, innovating some cost improvement, etc. And therefore, the focus kind of goes away. So hence, move from one project to the other, have that one thing innovated, get the results, adopt it, measure it, get the results, and then move to the other things. So those are the 5 things, elements that I wanted to kind of bring out in innovation, and I still feel it can happen in a very structured way, both in organizations and at homes.
So, Gaurav and Priyanka, after the session, you both can have a one-on-one conversation on this. So, no, it will be fun. I will have fun. Sandeep, your comments on this, because anyway we are short on time.
Yeah.
So,
We spoke about freedom, we spoke about rewards. So, the challenges that are worth solving for an individual and an organization, if that can somehow get aligned, that will really be exciting to people. Second, when we say reward, what are we rewarding? Because that's what going to encourage a person to repeat that behavior. What are we rewarding? Are we rewarding successful innovation? Most of the innovation will fail. Can we celebrate failure? Can we say ये बहुत अच्छा कोशिश किया इसने, ये किसी ने सोचा नहीं था, he tried his best, he failed. But let's encourage this kind of trials in the organization. He's a poster child of trials. He did a very good UAT. He did a very good POC. He did something which, he did in his spare time. ऑफिस में बैठ के थोड़े टाइम में उसने बनाया और बहुत ही काम नहीं आया, लेकिन उससे 2 आइडिया नए जनरेट हुए. And in our organization, one trend we are trying to set from the leadership point of view is that if a person is giving or contributing an innovative idea, thought, or an initiative, the initiative will be named after that person. IKEA does it. If you see IKEA, a lot of their products have labels of names of the people who have innovated. We are also trying to replicate that we want to have our initiatives named after the person who has contributed in that. So that's kind of a recognition, that as an organization we can give.
thank you so much, Sandeep. And we are almost done with the time. But I hope everyone had a great time. My panelists did, that I know. I have never seen this enthusiastic panel ever, and that too a last panel. So thank you so much, all of you, for gracing the panel and the event with your presence.
Thank you, Reema. Thanks a lot.
We have 10 seconds. Any questions? I think everyone understood whatever we said, or they did not understand anything. But thank you so much.